Hey guys, I'm Michelle and I'm a junior communications major here at URI, and I'm also in your Writing 235 online class. And so for my digital born narrative and also for my vlog, I decided to talk about something that is still a really big issue that we're seeing in our society and has been for a very long time. And it has to do with race, but specifically now how the whole idea of race and the whole narrative we've created around it is continually perpetuated in the media. And so when I talk about the media, I don't necessarily just mean CNN and Fox and the Times and all these different news outlets. I also mean simple things like books, television series, movies, songs, art, all sorts of things like that. So first, I wanted to just kind of start with my own personal experience. Obviously, I'm a young white woman, but I also do have red hair. So, not that this really compares, but from my own personal experience, we all remember Kick a Ginger Day, I'm sure. So, this was really only a big thing when I was in middle school, but middle school is just kind of a hard time for everybody. I mean, who really likes themselves then anyway? So I, for a few years, was kicked on Kick a Ginger Day. And it was more so just annoying than anything. But looking back on it, as a young girl, then I really did feel like, oh my God, like, I hate my hair. I hate my red hair. Like, I wish I didn't have it. I wanted to be a brunette or a blonde like everybody else. And I just really started to feel down on myself, which obviously nowadays, I embrace my red hair and I don't care. But imagine if that was your whole entire being. Imagine if people went around kicking me because they didn't like who I was because I had red hair, you know? So I think that a lot of us forget that race is based on something as simple as a difference in color. For me, it was hair color. For these people, it's their skin tone. Both equally as stupid to be judged on, if I may add. So I decided to talk about this stuff in the media because the media plays a big role in how we perceive things. So when Kick a Ginger Day was in the media, it showed a bunch of sad little red-headed kids who didn't want to be kicked. But when you see that an innocent black man was killed at the hands of more police officers or in some other situation, like it happens oftentimes now, we don't see the same sort of empathy. We don't see the same presentation in the media. And we actually see something a lot more violent. And you could see it in just the headlines of newspapers. You can see it obviously in movies and television all the time. There's plenty of examples of movies that were created where they have racist undertones, or just kind of that try to explain the position of Black Americans or whatever it may be. But a lot of times, and I feel like in recent times, we've been seeing a lot of it in music. Like Kendrick Lamar has dropped that album, and specifically a song that I wanted to talk about is just one of my favorites and has been for a while, is the song Babylon by Joey Badass. So if you haven't heard the song Babylon, I'd suggest you listen to it, but basically it's from his album called All American Badass, where American is spelt with 3 Ks rather than a C. So obviously it's a political statement that he's putting out along with his music, and obviously it's a racially charged message, with the 3 Ks being a reference to the KKK, and obviously a big jab at modern society since they were around in the 1800s and were notorious for killing African Americans. But basically, Joey Badass is just saying that there really is no difference now, which is unfortunate because I'd have to agree. So the song, basically, its main message is just that, African Americans are misunderstood and nobody really tries to actually understand. And this is true whether you believe it or not. A lot of the reason that black men, especially, are stereotyped is for things like being dangerous, being criminals, or just, that in general they're just a lesser human being, like that is a big part of racism, is just thinking that these people are less than you, just like when slavery was a thing. It's the same exact idea when it really comes down to it. So in the song, he talks a lot about running away and talking to God, and, this idea that maybe death would be better, but not necessarily in the way that a lot of these black men and women would maybe die if they didn't escape themselves. So he also features the artist Chronix in the album, who is a practicing Rastafarian, which I just thought was really interesting. And when you look into the Rastafarian religion and its connection to Babylon and race, Babylon is actually used in the religion as a term to address oppression, because in the 1930s, police officers specifically were very oppressive to the Rastas when their religion was growing, because they had this fear that this new religion with rapid growth could cause a huge rebellion against the government. And so basically, the message that they're trying to get across is that nothing has changed and nothing will change until we try to make it change. And I think that really comes down to his message of trying to understand each other and this idea of being misunderstood. Because when you really think about it, if you have a simple issue to solve, such as you and your friend are in a fight, what do? You talk it out. That's the first step always, is trying to communicate your issue. So I think that in producing songs like this and putting out messages like this in ways that are maybe even different than just writing a speech and putting it on the news, an important message can still be broadcast to the nation and can still be received by an audience. So I, again, just want to close by saying that the issues that are happening with race really do affect us all. This is our society, this is our country, and even if you don't want all the people that live here to be here, guess what? They still do. And rooting for half of them to fail means rooting for our society to fail. So our society will not grow, it will not flourish, we will not come together and unify to make a better nation or to make any better changes for anything if we can't just accept that, we're all human beings, we all have a useful opinion, and we all have a voice worth being heard, and that we all have a place on this earth, and that nobody should have to fight for that. And, I think that we really need to put more pressure on our government and police and really just kind of everyone moving forward to make an effort to understand people and to not do the easy thing and continue to stereotype or continue to believe what you once did, and really try to move forward in a different direction that leads away from the issue of race and how being a different skin tone, having different shaped eyes, however you can classify it, being a different race means different things when it doesn't. And that's my message. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching this vlog. See you soon.